All right. Today we are here to film. God, dog, man. We can cut that one
Get
out.
to the video.
Okay. So, how do I get started buying a home in 2024?
All right. So, first, you want to know what your budget is.
All right.
So, well, you want to get pre-approved. Your agent will probably tell you to get pre-approved. If you work with the agent, you should get pre-approved so you know what your budget is.
Right.
And then you start, you see what you want to get, what your criteria is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the average, the most common is like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house.
Okay.
And then you start looking for homes. You start making offers and all that,
And
Go
just
through the process. Your agent will walk you through the process.
mm-hmm.
If you don't have an agent, good
Get
luck.
one.
I'm not here for that. I'm here for that. Get an agent.
Get one first.
Yeah,
Right?
get one. You don't got an agent.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get a cheap one. Well, a cheap one don't matter, but get a good one. You get a good one.
Reputable.
Get a good one.
Reputable
It's gonna
agent.
be a rough time.
Yeah. How do you get pre-approved? Well, let's talk about that for a second.
How you get pre-approved?
Yeah, how you get pre-approved?
Some people think that your real estate agent get you pre-approved. You just like walk up to him like, I want that. That's not how it works. You gotta go to a lender.
Lender?
Yeah, lender.
Like a bank lender?
The thing
Like
about real estate agents, they can do a lot, but they also can't do a lot. Like inspect a home, that's professional.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Appraise a home, that's professional. I can't do that either. Lend you money, I ain't got enough money. You might want to go somebody else. So, how you get pre-approved? You go to a lender. The lender I suggest is Mary at Mortgage Insurance Group. She knows what she's talking about.
She knows what she's talking about.
If
If you live in the Chattanooga area.
I've talked.
Okay, so, what is the difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval?
Like pre-qualification is it's less detailed than like pre-approval. Like pre-qualification would be like you get pre-qualified to where you can borrow between a certain amount. Like I don't know, I'm not a lender. I don't know the exact specifics.
Yeah.
But like let's say like between like 200,000 and 250,000.
Okay.
Right, that's pretty big buffer,
That's
pretty
pretty
big window, pretty
yeah.
big gap.
It's 50,000.
50,000 difference. That's like more than I've made in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I say, dog. That's like
pretty big gap. So yeah, it's pretty
hefty.
detailed, but not very. Then like pre-approval is like you can borrow 230,000.
Mm-hmm.
See,
It's giving you the exact amount
yeah,
instead of
more
like
specific.
an estimate.
And if you get a pre-approval letter, I mean, a lot of listings will require a pre-approval letter because I got a house that's worth. What is the average house sells for like 360, right?
Yeah,
360. That's a lot of money.
that's a lot of money.
I'm not gonna have some dude walk through my house, my $360,000 house, without even being pre-approved. Like you don't like can he get enough money to buy the house? Mm-hmm.
Like what? Yeah, no,
But if you have a pre-approval letter, just hand it to him and be like, yeah,
you're valid. Like, bro.
yes, you're approved.
Yeah.
Literally.
Okay, so how much should I save for a down payment for a house?
Well, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It depends on what your plan is. Some people pay 100% cash. That's rare.
Yeah, I was
Some
gonna
people
say,
ain't got 100% cash.
because if you
But,
pull up
like,
360,000.
Down payments, can like for loans.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you get a conventional loan, which is usually 20% down, I mean you can go less than 20%, but there's fees that come with that. Monthly fees they get added to it because you're going less than 20%. If you're going, unless you can't do it, I would just try to do 20.
Right.
But there are certain loans where you can get like 3.5%. If you can get that, I mean that's a different story. But like FHA, you get 3.5%. Veterans, they got VA loans, zero down.
That's
a good
actually
deal
pretty.
right
That's actually yeah. That's
a good deal right
yeah,
there.
ain't going
FHA, veterans. I'm not a lender, so ask Mary. Ask a good lender. I'm not your boy, but I know the basics. But the less you make for a down payment, the less equity you have in your home. So like the more your payments are going to be,
Yeah.
the more down payment you have, the less principal you'll owe. So the more you'll own of the house in general. It's kind of weird. It's kind of confusing to put it, but the more you make a down payment, the more house you own, the less house you owe on.
Okay.
So you wanna make a higher down payment.
Yeah, you want to make a higher down payment so you can pay less.
Mm-hmm.
So higher down payment, you pay less. lesser pay down payment, you pay more during like
Yeah.
okay,
So it's pros and
yeah,
cons.
it's kind of yeah,
But
yeah.
like some investors, they'll find a house. This what they call leveraging their money. They'll
Hmm.
like find a house, and FHA can apply to like single family up to like quad. I think so. Like four, like a duplex and a triplex and a quad.
Yeah.
Um, and so they'll try to leverage their money where they only have to invest so much money into the property, but then they can start renting it out to other people
Hmm.
and making that
Yeah,
dinero.
make that money.
Uh, so they'll get an FHA loan for like 3%, 3.5, 3% down. I think it's 3.5. Anyway, it's not gonna make or break that point five. You can just look it up.
Yeah.
Um, and so they'll like have this certain amount they have to have up front. Like they have to have the closing. They have to have like their down payments, any closing costs they might have to pay, all of that ready. But then after and their repairs they're gonna make to the house, all that done,
Hmm.
certain amount of money. But after they get done, after they make this big payment up front, then they can start making money from the renters and all this, or
Yeah.
they can flip it. And so the lower down payment they have, the less they'll have to provide up front, and the more they can just it's more it's a better option for them to make the slow payments, each monthly payment be a little more than have more upfront because if their investment goes the way they want it to, then they'll be
Hmm.
able to pay the certain amount each month because they'll have renters. So
Right.
they'll rather have to pay less upfront and more whenever they have renters than the other way around, where they have to pay
Yeah.
20% down, but they have to pay um, less each month.
Okay.
It's not really it's a better option for them to make a lower down payment.
Right. Okay. Okay. So it just depends on the certain scenario that you're in, and
Yeah.
that. Okay. Cool. 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 All right. So what are the closing costs? What does that mean?
It's like the fees you have to pay to close on a house.
Right.
Like you got to get the house, not appraised. You got to get the house inspected. Appraiser is more like for the start, more at the beginning of the process.
Hmm.
You want to get like the buyer. You want to get the house inspected. Make sure
Make sure there ain't
make
any
sure,
rodents living in your house.
make sure the foundation.
Yeah.
It's not brittle.
You know,
Pretty good idea.
next 2 years it won't fall apart like
Yeah,
some Legos. Okay.
Legos are pretty sturdy. We're talking about Jello over here.
I'm talking about actually my fault. I'm talking about those like little popsicle sticks.
Oh yeah,
My
dependable, breakable.
mm-hmm. Uh, okay, so the closing costs are towards the end of the buy, or towards the end of
Closing the call. Yeah,
closing. Yeah,
you have to
literally
pay-
closing the house.
Yeah,
So, all right, so
that one brief. Make sure
hmm
can't go into too much detail about everything.
yeah, so should people buy or rent right now?
Right now,
What's more valuable? Like, what's more?
well, I mean, I don't think right now. Right now, really, I think this is just general. Whether you should buy or rent in general, it depends
Hmm.
on your situation. Like, um, if you're planning to move in the next few years, why
Right.
would you want to buy a house that locks you to this certain location when you know you're gonna have to move to another location in a few years? I would just rent for a few years, or you could I would rent. You
Yeah.
could do something else, but I would rent.
Okay.
And buying is probably it's not always the better option, but whenever you buy something, you own it
You own it.
eventually.
Yeah.
You eventually own it, and whenever you're not owning it, you're slowly building equity in it.
Yeah.
That
So you're
house.
slowly building money inside the house that you
Yeah,
live
so that you'll have more ownership of the house. You'll owe
in.
less, and I mean you have to pay for it either way.
Yeah.
So but it's different for each situation. Like some people like renting, but some people don't like. Some people like. I keep saying the same thing. Some people don't like having to repair their own house.
Right.
All right. Okay, let's go back to real estate. Right.
All right.
What other questions you got?
I still don't fully understand the principal thing. Like,
So like, let's say you got a loan for 200,000,
right.
and I don't know, you got a down payment for like, what is that, 20%, 40,000.
Uh,
Okay, so well that doesn't matter. The down payment don't matter. Forget that. Anyway, so like you have an interest rate of I don't know 6%.
mm-hmm.
So they amortize that amortization and they amortize it, which is they make it so that your payments each month are equal
Okay.
every month.
So that way
So like
you can
you,
actually.
but slowly over time you pay more. The principal is like how much you borrowed, and the interest is interest. It's how
Yeah,
much
it
you pay
adds
the
on.
interest. Principal is just um what you're paying for. It's what you're paying for the product, and then interest is like what you're paying to the company to borrow the money.
So principal is like what you're paying off rip, like what you.
Yeah, it's like
Oh,
what
so
you
what's your.
borrow.
Okay. So that's what you.
And whenever you get a mortgage, you slowly pay off. Like the more and more you pay, the more and more you pay off the principal instead of interest because of the way the mortgage is set.
Okay.
So like, let's say you got a payment of $300 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even realistic. Like, let's say you got let's say 3,000 actually. Something more realistic. 3,000 a month. Okay. So it starts out like I don't know the actual percentage. I'm not a mortgage
Expert.
dealer.
Yeah.
I'm got a license for that. I got a license for real estate. Okay, so you start out like I don't know. Let's say you got a good down payment, so you're paying like 2,000 to your. Okay, let's not say that. Let's say it's 50-50. Okay, so you're paying 1,500 to that's crazy, but you're paying 1,500 to interest and 1,500 to principal. Well, slowly over time, you're gonna be paying more and more towards principal. So like
It would
2 years
raise.
later, you're gonna be paying like 1,700 to principal and 1,300 to interest,
Oh, so
and then slowly, and then like at the last payment, it's gonna be like 2,900 to principal and like 100 to interest.
okay, so that makes more sense. All right. So it's more like your principal. I can't really explain it, but it makes sense to me. The way that you explain it, it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it's really hard. Whenever you learn something, like you can learn something real easily, but being able to describe it is something different.
Yeah, that's completely different.
That's the hard part about instructing
Yeah,
and things like that.
I was sitting over there. I'd literally, if somebody asked me to explain it, I'll just explain it just like how you did, and I'll just be like, "You get it?" And they'll be like, "No." I'll be like, "Okay."
Good enough. That's send them to me.
Send them to you. There we go. The real estate professional here. I'm trying to think. License.
At 18. Like you hear that?
License at 18.
You hear that? Something special. First try.
Sound incredible.
First try.
Honestly, that's actually pretty incredible. I'm not gonna lie. Not a lot of 18-year-olds is out here doing that. Let's be
First
for
try.
real.
Let's not forget that. First try.
Not
I don't think you fully comprehend what first time means. All right. No retries. No restudying.
No, none of that. Just straight into it. Straight into the fire. I like that. See,
That's hot too.
it's boiling.
Boiling hot, boy.
So basically, it just depends again on your scenario or what your situation is at the current time. Yeah, personally, renting does sound pretty nice because you can just call somebody and be like, "Hey, something wrong here."
Yeah, but also, like, they could give you, like, you have an agreement. You have, like, a lease agreement where, like, for the next, you sign a lease agreement, usually. I mean, sometimes you don't, but sometimes they don't. It depends on, the situation.
Yeah.
Depends on what contract you sign. So,
Sure.
like, you could, so, like, for, like, whenever you sign, like, a lease agreement, for, like, the next few years, you're agreeing to pay, well, some of them are like this. I think it's, like, it's what I know, is that what I've dealt with personally is, like, you sign this contract where you're going to pay this certain amount for the next year, but after that year, like, you could leave unless you, like, re-sign or unless you have it to where it just automatically restarts itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, restart, that's good enough word.
Yeah. It fits.
Yeah, it fits. You forget all I was saying. Oh yeah, at least. Okay, so like, but after that time, they could just like you gotta go.
Yeah.
They just kick you out. If you have your own house, it will kick you out. Uncle Sam could if you don't pay taxes. By the way, with debt, whatever you have to pay property taxes. Like if you're ever to get foreclosed on, Uncle Sam gets paid first. So like, I would make sure you pay the property tax. They're usually not that much compared to the value of the house.
Okay.
Usually, the value, it usually is, the word, I forget what the word is, but I learned this in real estate school, and something useful you learn. It's not real useful to what I have to do day to day, but your, what you pay to taxes for, like, Uncle Sam every year, property taxes, is based off of what your house is worth. So, like, wouldn't it be nice to keep your house for 3% of what it's worth? Or, I don't know, like, it's not even 3%. It's like 1% of what it's worth every year. I don't know how much it is, to be honest.
Yeah.
But It's pretty good.
Be pretty been nice.
Idea,
pretty nice. You know what I'm saying? Okay. That's pretty much all the questions. Yeah, that's pretty much all the questions I came with. So.
That's enough to edit. I gotta go home and edit all this.
Yep. So. See y'all later.